Stop imagining Zeus on his throne. Stop imagining the white marble temples or the heroes fighting monsters. Before all of that, before the gods, before the earth, before time itself began to tick, there was absolutely nothing. We often think of Greek mythology as the story of the Olympians, but they are merely the grandchildren of the true power. The universe was not built by Zeus. It was forged by entities so ancient and abstract that they barely resemble gods at all. They are the Protogenoi, the firstborn, the Primordial Gods. To understand the universe, we must look into the abyss that started it all. Before we gaze into the abyss of creation, help this channel grow. Subscribe, like, and comment below if you are ready to see the true beginning. In the beginning, there was no where and there was no when. There was only chaos. In modern language, we use it word chaos to describe disorder, confusion, or a mess. But in the ancient Greek mind, chaos meant something far more terrifying. It meant the chasm. It was a gaping void and infinite, yawning abyss of nothingness. Imagine a space with no light to see, no air to breathe, and no ground to stand on. It was a vacuum of absolute silence that stretched on forever. For eons, this was the only reality. There were no atoms, no gravity, no heat, and no cold. Chaos was a genderless, formless entity, drifting in the dark. It was the potential for everything. Yet it was nothing. It is hard for the human mind to comprehend this state, because we are creatures of matter and time. But chaos was the negation of existence. It was the blank canvas before the first stroke of paint. It waited in the dark, heavy with the weight of things that did not yet exist, waiting for the singular moment that would shatter the silence forever. Then, without warning, the stillness broke. It was not a bang, nor an explosion, but a sudden manifestation of reality. Chaos, in its infinite potential, gave birth. But this was not a birth of flesh and blood. It was a separation. From the mist of the void, weight and substance began to coalesce. The heavy sunk downwards, and the light floated upwards. The very first laws of physics were writing themselves into existence. This moment marks the transition from the nothing to the something. It is the most critical moment in mythology, yet it is often overlooked. Chaos did not create these things consciously. They emerged from it like condensation on a cold glass. Three distinct, powerful entities materialized from the void, separating themselves from their parent. These were not gods in the way we think of Thor or Apollo. These were personifications of the fundamental building blocks of reality. The universe had officially begun. The first to fully separate from the void was Gaia, the earth. But do not think of her as just the soil or the grass. Gaia was the principle of matter itself. She was the solid, unshakable foundation upon which all future life, tragedy, and history would be built. She was the ever-sure foundation of all, in the swirling confusion of chaos. Gaia appeared as a stable floor, a place where things could exist and interact. She was beautiful, fertile, and strong. She was the mother of all, the ultimate matriarch. Without her, there would be no stage for the drama of the cosmos. She represented solidity, gravity, and potential life. As she emerged, she stretched out, forming the valleys, the mountains, and the plains. But she was lonely. She was a stage without actors, a mother without children. Her emergence brought stability to the universe, but it also brought a sense of isolation. She was the broad-breasted earth, waiting to be filled, waiting to be loved, and waiting to be broken. But as Gaia solidified above, a shadow formed beneath her. This was the third primordial, Tartarus. If Gaia was the floor of the universe, Tartarus was the basement. He was the great, gloomy pit that lay as far beneath the earth as the earth lies beneath the sky. The poets say that if you dropped a bronze anvil from heaven, it would fall for 9 days and nights to reach earth. And if you dropped it from earth, it would fall for another 9 days and nights before it finally crashed into the floor of Tartarus. Tartarus was not just a place. He was a living entity. He was the personification of the abyss, the dungeon, the inescapable prison. While Gaia represented life and growth, Tartarus represented containment and punishment. He was the inverse of creation, a damp, moldy, windswept darkness where the worst monsters of history would eventually be locked away. His existence proved that the universe was not just built on light and life. It was built on a foundation of darkness and fear. The cosmos now had a top and a bottom, but it still lacked the energy to move. The universe now had a stage, Gaia, and a dungeon, Tartarus, but it was stagnant. It was a frozen tableau, motionless and silent. It lacked the spark required for action. From the swirling mist of chaos came the fourth, and perhaps the most crucial, primordial power, Eros. Eros is often misunderstood in modern times as Cupid, a chubby baby with tiny wings shooting love arrows. Forget that image. The original Eros was a terrifying cosmic force. He was the personification of attraction, procreation, and biological drive. He was the loosener of limbs, the power that overcomes the mind and wise counsels of all gods and all men. He was not romantic love. He was the raw, unstoppable urge that forces two distinct things to merge into one. Without Eros, Gaia would remain barren forever. Without Eros, the universe would have remained a collection of separate parts, never combining to create anything new. He was the engine of the cosmos, the gravity of desire. As Eros began to exert his influence, the final two primordial entities emerged directly from chaos, sibling powers of pure shadow. First was Erebus, the personification of deep darkness. He filled the hidden places of the cosmos, the shadows under the rocks, the gloom of caves, and the thick air of the underworld just above Tartarus. Alongside him rose his sister, Nyx the Night. She was a goddess of immense power and terrible beauty. She wrapped herself around the earth, a swirling cloak of black mists. Unlike the Olympian gods who would later rule the day, Nyx was the queen of everything that happens when the light fades. She was ancient and absolute. Even Zeus, the future king of gods, would come to fear her, knowing that her power over the darkness was older and deeper than his lightning. Together, Erebus and Nyx completed the initial structure of the cosmos. The stage was set, but it was a stage shrouded in total, suffocating blackness. Under the irresistible influence of Eros, the cosmic forces began to interact. The universe experienced its first act of creation through union. Erebus, the deep shadow, and Nyx, the swirling night, were drawn together in the darkness. From their primordial coupling, a profound change occurred. The darkness birthed its opposite. Nyx gave birth to Ether, the bright, glowing upper atmosphere, the pure air that the gods would one day breathe. And she birthed Hemera, the day. This was a monumental shift. For the first time in eternity, light existed. The universe was no longer a monochrome void. A cycle began. Nyx night would sweep across the sky, bringing darkness, and her daughter Hemera day would push her back, bringing light. The binary rhythm of time, day and night was established, breathing life into the static cosmos, while the upper cosmos was filling with light and shadow. Gaia, the earth, remained lonely below. Eros stirred within her, but she had no equal partner to match her vastness. Driven by this cosmic need to create, Gaia did something extraordinary. She gave birth without a mate, through a process known as parthenogenesis. From her own being, she spun the sky. She birthed Uranus, the starry heavens. He rose from her surface, a magnificent, shining dome adorned with stars, designed to cover her completely on all sides. He was her equal in magnitude, her perfect counterbalance. She also brought forth the Aurea, the high mountains, and Pontus, the deep, barren sea. The physical world was now complete. Earth, sky, mountains, and ocean. Gaia had created her own partner, setting the stage for the first great tragedy of existence. The edible drama of mother and son, earth and sky, was about to begin. Deep within the earth, Gaia is screaming. She suffered unimaginable physical agony as her enormous children scratched and clawed inside her, trapped in darkness. But her pain quickly turned to a cold, hard hatred. She realized that Uranus was not a partner. He was a parasite, a tyrant who cared only for his own vanity. She knew she had to act, but she could not fight the sky alone. She needed a weapon, and she needed an executioner. From her own bedrock, she produced a new element gray adamant, the hardest metal in existence. She shaped it into a massive, jagged sickle, a tool designed for reaping. She summoned her Titan children to a secret council in the shadows. She showed them the weapon and spoke treason. "Children," she whispered, the earth shaking with her voice, "your father is a wicked tyrant. He has buried your brothers in darkness. Obey me, and we will punish him for this vile outrage." Fear gripped the Titans. To strike the sky seemed impossible. Only one stepped forward. Driven by ambition and a hatred for his father, he took the sickle. The stage was set for the first regicide in history. Night fell. Uranus descended from the heavens to embrace Gaia, bringing the darkness with him. He was driven by desire, completely blind to the trap laid by his own wife and son. He spread himself over the earth, vast and confident. At that moment, Kronos struck. He burst from the shadows, grabbing his father with his left hand and swinging the adamant sickle with his right. In one horrific, cosmic stroke, he castrated the sky. Uranus howled a sound of absolute agony that shattered the atmosphere. For the first time in eternity, the sky recoiled from the earth, rising high above to where it stays today. The deed had immediate, bloody consequences. The drops of Uranus's blood fell onto Gaia. From this fertilization of pain, the Furies' spirits of vengeance and the giants were born. But the severed flesh fell into the sea, churning the water into white foam. From this gruesome mixture, Aphrodite, the goddess of beauty, rose. It was a violent end to the reign of the Cronus stood victorious. He was now the king of the cosmos. He released his Titan brothers and sisters, ushering in what would be known as the Golden Age. But revolutions often replace one tyrant with another. Cronus did not keep his promise to his mother, Gaia. He refused to release the Hecatonchires and Cyclopes from Tartarus, fearing their power just as his father had. Gaia, betrayed once again, whispered a curse that would haunt Cronus forever. "You have overthrown your father, but beware, for one of your own children will overthrow you." The cycle of violence had begun. Cronus became paranoid, eventually swallowing his own children, the future Olympian stew. Prevent the prophecy. The seeds of the next great war were already sown in the blood of the first. With Uranus now watching over her, Gaia was no longer alone. The earth and the sky were locked in a perpetual embrace. From this union, the first true pantheon of gods was conceived. These were not the chaotic elemental forces of earlier times, but distinct, powerful beings with domains and These were the Titans. There were 12 of them, 6 males and 6 females. Oceanus, the world-encircling river. Hyperion, the Lord of Light. Mnemosyne, the embodiment of memory. Thymus, the divine law, and the youngest, wiliest of them all, Cronus. They were majestic, beautiful beings, striding across the primeval world like mountains given flesh. They represented the forces of nature, ordered and personified. But they were not the only children born of earth and sky. Gaia's womb was fertile, and Uranus's seed was potent, but nature is not always symmetric or beautiful. After the perfection of the Titans, Gaia gave birth again. But this time the offspring were twisted, raw, and terrifying. First came the Cyclopes Brontes, Sterops, and Arges. They were giants with immense skill, but only a single, burning eye in the center of their foreheads. They were the masters of fire and metal, destined to forge the lightning bolts of the future. But for now, they were simply monsters. Following them came the Hecatonchirista, Hundredhandas Kutos Priarius, and Jigis. These were nightmares made flesh. Each possessed 50 heads roaring in a cacophony of voices and 100 arms flailing with the strength to shatter continents. They were the embodiment of natural disasters, earthquakes, tsunamis, and uncontrolled force. They were the brothers of the Titans, but they looked nothing like them. They were chaos returning to flesh. Uranus looked down from his starry throne upon these new children, and he felt no fatherly love. He felt only revulsion. He was the god of the perfect, orderly heavens, and he despised the chaotic ugliness of the Cyclopus and the Hecaton. He refused to let them walk upon his surface or see his light. In an act of cosmic cruelty that would stain the history of the gods forever, Uranus pushed them back. As soon as they emerged, he physically shoved them back into the womb of Gaia. He imprisoned them deep underground, in the darkest caverns of Tartarus, creating a living prison within their own mother. Uranus rejoiced in his wickedness, pleased that he had hidden the shameful parts of his creation. But he did not calculate the cost of his cruelty. He saw Gaia only as a subject, not a powerful primordial entity capable of rage. But what of the ancients? What happened to the 5 primordials who started it all? They didn't die because they couldn't die. They simply retreated into the fabric of reality. Chaos remains the space between atoms, the void that awaits the end of time. Gaia is the ground we walk on, silent but ever-present. Tartarus remains the dungeon beneath our feet, awaiting the wicked. Eros still controls the biology of every living creature, and Nyx still brings night every twilight. They are no longer the protagonists in the drama of Zeus and Hera. They are the stage itself. They are the walls of the house where the Olympian gods will one day live. They are silent, watchful, and eternal, far more powerful than the gods frolicking on the mountaintops. And so, the universe was formed, not in a day, but through eons of loneliness, desire, betrayal, and bloodshed. We have journeyed from the shrieking silence of the void to the rise of the mighty titans. We have seen how order was forged from chaos, with the gray adamant scythe. The Olympian gods, Zeus, Poseidon, Hades, will eventually take center stage. But never forget their origins. They stand on the shoulders of giants, monsters, and the living abyss. Greek mythology isn't just about heroes. It's about the terrifying and wondrous forces that make existence possible. This is the complete story of the 5 primordial gods. If you survive this journey into the abyss, you're now part of the mythology verse. If you'd like to see the next chapter, The War of the Titans and the Rise of Zeus, be sure to subscribe and turn on your notification bell. Hit the like button if you learned something new, and let me know in the comments, which primordial god do you find most terrifying? Chaos or Tartarus?